And yeah, that's it. The floor is yours, Prabhu. We're all good to go.
Krishna Prabhu. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Good morning, dear devotees. Before anything, I'd like to ask, beg and plead for your blessings, especially Adi Parush Prabhu, the most senior devotee here at the moment. I don't know how I've gotten here, other than by mercy and just devotees, association. So if you can, please help. If necessary, if you see me straying off topic, just straighten me, chastise me, let me know. Today we'll be reading from the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 3rd chapter, entitled The Birth of Lord Krishna, texts number 1 through 5. Sri Shuka Uvacha Ata Sarva Gunopeta Kalapara Mashobana Yarhya Vejana Janmarksham Shantarksha Krahatarakam Disha Prase Durgaganam Nirmalodu Ganodayam Mahi Mangala Bhuti Bhuishta Puragrama Brajakara Nadya Prasana Salila Hrada Jala Ruha Shriyaha Vichari Kula Sanada Stavaka Vanarajaya Vavavayu Sukasparsha Punya Gandhavaha Suchi Agnayascha Dvijatinam Shantastatra Samindata Manangshyasan Prasanani Sadunam Asuradruham Jayamane Jane Tasmin Nedudundu Bayashamam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Prabhupada. Translation. Thereafter, at the auspicious time for the appearance of the Lord, the entire universe was surcharged with all the qualities of goodness, beauty, and peace. The constellation Rohini appeared, as did the stars like Ashvini. The sun, the moon, and the other stars and planets were very peaceful. All directions appeared extremely pleasing, and the beautiful stars twinkled in the cloudless sky. Decorated with towns, villages, mines, and pasturing grounds, the earth seemed all auspicious. The rivers flowed with clear water, and the lakes and vast reservoirs full of lilies and lotuses were extraordinarily beautiful. In the trees and green plants, full of flowers and leaves, pleasing to the eyes, birds like cuckoos and swarms of bees began chanting with sweet voices for the sake of the demigods. A pure breeze began to blow, pleasing the sense of touch and bearing the aroma of flowers. And where the Brahmanas, engaging in ritualistic ceremonies, ignited their fires according to Vedic principles, the fires burned steadily, undisturbed by the breeze. Thus, when the birthless Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to appear, the saints and the Brahmanas, who had always been disturbed by demons like Kamsa and his men, felt peace within the core of their hearts, and kettle drums simultaneously vibrated from the upper planetary system. Purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that his appearance, birth, and activities are all transcendental, and that one who factually understands them is immediately eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord's appearance or birth is not like that of an ordinary man, who is forced to accept a material body according to his past needs. The Lord's appearance is explained in the previous chapter. He appears out of his own sweet pleasure. When the time was mature for the appearance of the Lord, the constellations became very auspicious. The astrological influence of the constellation known as Rohini was also predominant because this constellation is considered very auspicious. Rohini is under the direct supervision of Brahma, who is born of Vishnu, and it appears at the birth of Lord Vishnu, who is in fact birthless. According to the astrological conclusion, besides the proper situation of the stars, there are auspicious and inauspicious moments due to the different situations of the different planetary systems. At the time of Krishna's birth, the planetary systems were automatically adjusted so that everything became auspicious. At that time, in all directions, east, west, south, and north, everywhere, there was an atmosphere of peace and prosperity. Auspicious stars were visible in the sky, and on the surface in all towns and villages or pasturing grounds, and within the mind of everyone, there were signs of good fortune. The rivers were flowing full of water, and the lakes were beautifully decorated with lotus flowers. The forests were full with beautiful birds and peacocks. All the birds within the forest began to sing with sweet voices, and the peacocks began to dance with their consorts. The wind blew very pleasantly, carrying the aroma of different flowers, and the sensation of bodily touch was very pleasing. At home, the Brahmanas, who were accustomed to offer sacrifices in the fire, found their homes very pleasant for offerings. Because of disturbances created by the demoniac kings, the sacrificial fire had been almost stopped in the house of Brahmanas, but now they could find the opportunity to start the fire peacefully. Being forbidden to offer sacrifices, the Brahmanas were very distressed in mind, intelligence, and activities. But just on the point of Krishna's appearance, automatically their minds became full of joy because they could hear loud vibrations in the sky of transcendental sounds, proclaiming the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the occasion of Lord Krishna's birth, seasonal changes took place throughout the entire universe. Krishna was born during the month of September, yet it appeared like springtime. The atmosphere, however, was very cool, although not chilly, and the rivers and reservoirs appeared just as they would in Sharad, the fall. Lotuses, and lilies blossom during the day. But although Krishna appeared at 12 o'clock midnight, the lilies and lotuses were in bloom. And thus the wind blowing at that time was full of fragrance. Because of conscious disturbances, the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies had almost stopped. The Brahmanas and saintly persons could not execute the Vedic rituals with peaceful minds. But now the Brahmanas were very pleased to perform their daily ritualistic ceremonies undisturbed. The business of the Asuras is to disturb the Suras, the devotees and the Brahmanas. But at the time of Krishna's appearance, these devotees and Brahmanas were undisturbed. Help me, Lord. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Panchakalpaturvyasya Kripa Sindhuvya Vacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavali Pasyatya Deshatari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, dear devotees, we are here. We are for sure here. And very auspicious moment. Very auspicious moment. This is it's a very humbling moment for me, and I pray and hope that I can offer anything, even if it's only a little bit of just effort to maybe help someone, at least one person, see something that they may have not seen or heard before. So it's definitely auspicious. It's an amazing verse and purport. And the only reason I agreed to do this is because the date that Ananda Bihari Prabhu asked me to give class was the 1-year anniversary of the date that I was accepted to take shelter of my guru.
Wow. Krishna's arrangement.
Yeah, for sure. That's the only reason, because I am definitely absurdly unqualified. And I barely scrape by. Just on devotee association and mercy alone is the only reason I get by. So, okay, this is a beautiful verse, and it's just a constant reminder of how, like my friend Adi Prabhu always says, how wonderful is Krishna, that he brings. No matter what disturbances may be occurring in the world, like in these modern times, with just the darkness that we can see at times, and the degraded consciousnesses that we tend to have to interact with every now and again, more often than not, it's good to have devotees. It's good to have taken shelter of not only the holy names, but of a pure devotee. It's absurd, the things that we see in this world at times, and the only way we can make sense of it is through scripture, through guru, sadhu, and shastra. These are phrases that we hear constantly, and no matter how many times we hear them, we have to be reminded. At least I do, for sure, over and over again. I have to hear it a million times, and then I have to hear it a million more times. So one thing that I noticed, I'm not sure if it's proper, but that incident that happened in Brooklyn happened very close to where I live. And ironically enough, I had been going through a little bit of I was having a lot of doubts about a lot of things when it comes to just Krishna consciousness and my path, and just the validity, how valid my effort has been. And it takes something like that to remind. I felt like when I saw the news and everybody was going, everybody was having their own different reactions, I saw how it was a reminder, at least to me, how in an instant this world will show you its real quality and how impermanent and how painful it is, because we aren't meant to be here always. We're meant to be, like Prabhupada always says, this is a place of suffering. Like, we come here to suffer, and if we're fortunate enough to meet devotees or hear their names or read the Gita, then we start to like become detached. We have to detach from this material world, unless, like me, every now and again you need a little bit of suffering as a reminder, always a reminder of how much this place hurts when mistakenly taken as permanent. Like, this is just like a learning ground. We come here to learn, to be reminded, and to find our way back home eventually. If we were meant to stay here, we wouldn't have to leave here. These bodies are temporary. No matter how beautiful you may look, no matter how strong or these bodies age, these bodies feel pain, they start to break down. And ultimately it's a really painful experience, but it could be a beautifully painful experience. If any kind of worship is undertaken, some kind of austerity, sacrifice for the name of the Lord. Look what Prabhupada went through for us. I see it every day. I serve with Adi Prabhu, Purusha Prabhu pretty much every day. I've been with him for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years next month, distributing prasadam. And I see him go through it, and I see him just how steady he is. It's mind-boggling. Like, my mind still is just like, I don't understand how he does it. It's like anything. It's amazing when you see like a real devotee, as an inspiring devotee, when you see like a real devotee, like a pure devotee, and you see how they just put one foot in front of the other. They just take whatever little mercy they have, whatever little mercy they can give, and just like Krishna like multiplies it. And it's really, really amazing, where he's our everything, the names, association. I had all these notes written down to like give this, like, make believe I was like a scholar, and I just don't understand how I got here other than mercy. But okay, let me try to get back to it. So in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 8th verse, Krishna states, to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So that's exactly what happened. That's exactly, as soon as he was born, everything went, it was like everything is as it should be. So like, even though like there were demonic entities still, there were, in this world, there will always be. It will always have the 3 modes. We will always have people that are atheists that don't believe. And you will always have devotees. Because Krishna knows that we need devotees down here. It pleases him. It like to have people preaching his name, to hear people singing, calling for him. I remember when I first started trying to chant rounds, I looked up, because I like, you hear it and people tell you, like, oh yeah, chant the whole names. So I did like a Google, like a basic, like modern, like mundane minded person. I Googled it, and I was looking, I don't know what they mean. And I found so many different meanings, and I found one that kind of resonated with me. I'm not sure if it's a bona fide definition, but the definition was, when you chant their names, it's basically like calling to Krishna, saying, I cannot do this on my own. It's like, Lord, I cannot. I can't do this alone, And it made sense. It made sense because as powerful as we our false egos and the illusory energy will let us feel, like we'll have, like Krishna shows us at times, it's just like, no, not so much, like it's quality, not quantity. Like we're made of the same stuff, we aren't made of as much. Like he has just infinite everything, he has infinite everything, and we have just such tiny little bits, just enough to remind us and just enough to trick us as well. So it's like as soon as he was born, like the Brahmins found everything so easy. All the sacrifices, just like I would imagine, just the texture of the life, just the feeling of him being here, like being there with him, with them, felt like being back home. To them it's just like, okay, like it's just, I can't even imagine. Our minds cannot comprehend. He's inconceivable. How powerful and how like just his opulences and his sweetness. Like we've all, to a certain extent, experienced it. That's why we keep coming back. That's why we find it to be true, even though sometimes our minds might want to convince us otherwise. That's why we have to master our senses. Like our minds can't grasp it, so because our minds can't grasp it, sometimes they might want to convince us, okay, this is not real, this can't be. And it's every day in and day out, like there'll be times where he may not make himself as available as we would want him to be, but in his arrangements they're always perfect. Every arrangement that I've ever experienced, every bit of mercy, every what a mundane minded person might want to see as coincidence is, like with Krishna, you can tell there's no coincidence, there's no mistakes. Everything is perfectly timed, everything is perfectly placed. And for us, sometimes I'm just in awe and I have to stand back and realize it's like this is something otherworldly. It's not from here. Everything from here is temporary and just gets really, things down here get very stale very quickly. With him, nothing gets degraded. Like everything feels fresh all the time. Everything feels new, brand new. Even if it's a verse from the Gita you've read 10, 15, 20 times, you would read it one more time and it'll feel like it's the first time you read it. So 724.
Listen, Prabhu, Andrea and all of us, we would like to hear how you join the movement and how you found your guru. And did you feel when Krishna took birth in your life, when Krishna appeared in your life, how did you feel? Did you feel any auspicious, maybe you read something in the sky, something auspicious, or something in your life changed that you can tangibly feel and experience? Tell us.
Well, I came to Krishna consciousness through jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So pre-pandemic, I was training Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and my sensei, he was friends with a devotee named Jayananda Prabhu, who also is known as John Joseph. And John Joseph is a hardcore Krishna core singer. And yeah, so John Joseph knows Adi Prabhu. He's a devotee. He lived in temples when he was younger. He's very well known in the Lower East Side. So somehow or another, Adi knows John Joseph. John Joseph knows my sensei, and then Adi meets my sensei, and my sensei starts serving at Tompkins Square Park Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We go down to Tompkins Square Park 9:30, and we distribute prasadam to the homeless people and to the community. Whoever is willing to take a plate, there's a plate for them. So my sensei would always tell the other guys at the gym, other girls at the gym, oh, I'm volunteering. He didn't mention anything about that Adi was a monk. He didn't mention anything about Krishna consciousness. It's just very like, very vague, very mysterious, but it's just like, it's something good for the community. So then boom, COVID happens, pandemic, quarantine, everything is shut down, nothing is going on. And I had started to follow the Instagram interfaith_NYC. And I'm just like, every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, I would be scrolling. There's nothing else to do where everybody's locked inside. And I would see like pictures I'm like, these are new, like, and everybody was wearing masks. So I'm like, okay, these are new pictures. And what stood out to me, I was just like, whoever this guy is, he isn't scared. Everybody else is like anxious and fearful. And whoever this man is not scared. And he's steady. Those are the two things. Yes, Henry, all glories to Prasad distribution. So the steadiness and the fearlessness are the two things that stood out to me and kind of inspired me to just be like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot, because no one knew how long we were going to be locked inside for. No one knew how long quarantine was going to last. And I was just like, I already had come to the conclusion, like, I'm going to die. Like, this body, it doesn't last. So if I'm gonna go out, I'm kind of gonna go out swinging for a good cause.
So you wanted to die at Tompkins Square Park, distributing prasadam?
If necessary, yes. I figured, like, if I'm gonna get sick or wherever it was gonna happen, like, if I'm gonna, like, I didn't know that he was doing it like as a devotee. I didn't know anything really about Krishna. I had read the Gita a little bit, and it didn't make any sense to me. Like, my mind could, like, I was just so covered over in such like ignorance that I was like, okay, I can only read like one or two verses at a time before my mind would start like short circuiting, and it wouldn't, like, nothing would stay. But I just would keep on reading it because I knew it was something good. So yeah, so I ended up going, and I've been there ever since. Adi Prabhu has engaged me in many services. The first time I went on book distribution was with my godbrother Anupam Prabhu. Wow. Yeah, I've been, going to Kirtan at Washington Square Park, going to Kirtan with the Yuga Dharma Ashram from the Brooklyn Temple, Radha Govinda, serving at the interfaith guest houses, just cleaning the temple here for Thursday night Kirtan. It's just amazing. And I'm constantly tripping and falling and having to like crawl back up, but get chastised, get corrected. And it's all worth it. It's really all worth it. And it's so humbling. I'm like, I still don't know. I'm obviously unqualified to give this class, but I know, like, the one perspective I can offer is like a fresher perspective of like this is real. Like, this works. Like, the system works. Like, it's scientific, but it's also, it's like, it's like a hands-on thing. Like, if you get your hands on it, if you do it, because some people aren't like necessarily scholarly. Like, not everyone is going to memorize 1 million verses, but you can engage someone in service. You could put a broom in someone's hand. You could put some prasadam in someone's hand. You could tell them, serve this salad. You could tell them, clean this bathroom, and they'll look at it like, oh man, cleaning bathrooms, like, but it's like, go to Kirtan, hear the names, chant your rounds. If you work your way up. Like, I remember Adi, we were at the old kitchen, like, it was 2020, and Adi was like, like, we chant 16 rounds a day. And I was just like, okay. I was like, okay, this is what I was like, okay. So I tried it, and it was so difficult. It was so difficult. It was like the mind it could be so powerful, like, once it's caught in its ways, and once it has like habits developed, it's so difficult. But the names are so powerful that it's like, I would struggle. Sometimes it would take me an entire day, like, trying to squeeze out to like midnight, trying to get like the last round out. But once it becomes part of your routine, once it becomes part of your sadhana, it's like, I can't imagine waking up one day and being like, oh, I don't want to chant 16 rounds today. It's like, sometimes I look, I'm like, oh man, I have to chant my rounds. Like, I have to. Like, I don't want to know what it's like. I miss rounds. I missed doing 16, I think, once or twice. And I was like riddled with guilt. Then I was just like, I can't believe I missed a round. I got to 15 rounds and I was like, I cannot believe I missed a round.
Did you catch up on the following day?
Yeah, I chanted so much the next day. But it was like times like that, it reminds me of like how powerful like Maya can be, where you just like all of a sudden like you might be straight line doing service, sadhana, chanting, and then it's just like woof, and you're like, what the heck just happened? Like I'm just like you feel like you're in a daze. It's like half a day went. I'm like I haven't even chanted around sometimes, like not something like every once in a while. And it's like I'm like, okay, I get it, Krishna. Like I get it. Like I can't, like there is no retreat. You know, there is no there is like your bridges behind. Yeah, like there is no like you can stand your ground, you can go forward, but you can't go backwards in the sense of like you can't do what you thought you were able to do on your own, because there is no on your own. Like you can okay, like go leave devotees and stop going to temple, and then see how fast you stop chanting your rounds. See how fast you'll stop reading the Gita. See how quickly you'll forget Krishna. And then it's just like when I used to do temple cleaning services here, they have a mop room downstairs, and on the door it says, "Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna." Always remember. Those are like the two. Like we have like the regs and so many other things, but those are the two. It's like always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. And if you forget him, but then you remember you forgot him, you just remember him. So it's like a weird little cycle where he'll like bring you back, and you're like, oh, okay, like, and it's so like he's so amazing. I know everybody here knows Arjun Prabhu, like all the senior devotees know, and it's just sometimes they look at us and just like, I'm sure they just pray for us, like just help them. It's so hard, just so hard, and you can't. Yes, Hari Prabhu. You have a question, Prabhu?
Yeah, can you say something about how you decided to accept the spiritual master?
Oh, okay, yeah. It seems like
spiritual master himself.
Yeah, I'm aspiring for his grades of Vaisheshika Das Prabhu, and he accepted me on April 13th, 2021, and
what name did you get?
I haven't been initiated yet, Prabhu.
No. What's this accepted? Oh, okay.
Shelter. I took he accepted as an aspiring disciple. Yeah.
How did you make that decision? What brought you across the line and say, I'm stepping on?
How did I make the decision? Well, Maya is very strong. Maya is very strong. And I immediately realized, like, as soon as Maya puts the pressure on, it was like, I'm not strong enough. I'm not strong enough. And it's like anything, like we need shelter of each other, but we need that one place where it's like firm. It's like firm, like you hear them speak.
He's empowered. Simply true, his own personal character is there.
It's like you hear them speak, and it's like, and for me, it was just like, where have you been? And like, where have you been? Like for years, I'm like going through hell, like just buried in the muck of this world. And then you hear them speak, whoever they are to you, you know, like whoever your master is to you, your teacher, your guide, your guru. And then you understand it's like it's heavy. Like this place is heavy, and it's like it's like he's like effortless, right? He just like the first time I met him is just like, I don't know how you exist. You know, like I don't know how you would like, and like you meet like real like a bona fide, like pure straight, it's like shot straight down from the heavens. And you're just like, oh my, thank you. It's just like, oh my God, like there's something else other than just nonsense down here. So yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. It's amazing. And you can tell like you can tell how Krishna actually, like, he takes pleasure in his pure devotees, because like anytime you're around them, it's like everything is better. Like the first time I was next to him or close to him, is like any kind of like nonsense chatter or like a little bit of Maya that was there is completely obliterated. It's not, you can't even, it just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And it's so I think the most painful experience for me was him having to leave and me understanding like, oh, I can't be around him right now. Like afterwards, it's like being around them, and then like the separation is just like, oh, it hurts. It's like it feel like the umbilical cord is being cut, but it isn't. It isn't, because it's like you have his lectures, and you have his, like, anything that he's spoken to you. You just think of it, and it's just like, okay. But we're so used to like associating with like, oh, I want to be next to this person. I want to have their company like physically. But if you have if you have a spiritual master's company spiritually, that goes beyond. That's like a rocket ship. It was like take you straight out of here. Like, oh yes.
Jason, I bet you felt like one of the gopis when Krishna left and they were now so upset he left. I guess you felt like them, right? You knew how they felt.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those transcendental pains where it's like, but it's part of the experience. There's so many little questions on the side. I'm sorry, I'm straying off topic and not preaching as much as I should. You know, Andrea wrote, Jason Prabhu, love how you show your emotions, such a soft heart. Honestly, that's one of the points that I wanted to make. Is just like before Krishna consciousness, I was like, my heart was like stone. Like I had emotions, but it's just like, it's like being down here in this world. It's like you get hurt so many times that you're like, you make this like conscious decision to like, I don't want to feel anything. That way I can never get hurt again. I can never feel that pain again. You get betrayed. And then it's like, it just becomes a cycle of you hurt people, people hurt you. And then you come around devotees and it's like that, like, are they genuine? Like, it's that question is like, are they going to hurt me too? Because I've been hurt before. And it's like, if I open this heart again and I get hurt again to the point where
like a rescued dog, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like one of those dogs that they find in the pound. It's like it takes a while before being able to not only accept the love but appreciate how genuine it is. It's like if I hang out with you guys, are you guys gonna like leave me, or like are you gonna like make fun of me or something? Because this place is so hard. What else? What time is it? 7:39.
Yeah, this place is hard, but it's also wonderful because this place has Adipusha Prabhu, Arjuna Prabhu, Anupam. Krishna was here. Vaisheshika Prabhu was here. So many genuine souls were here. So this is also a nice place. Was it okay? Was everyone able to hear? Okay. Adipusha Prabhu, you're wonderful. You make this place wonderful.
Can't speak because the reverb thing is on.
I'll lower my volume if you're able to speak. No, it's not even, I don't think it's connected to that. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. You know, the verse is about the entire creation, the rivers, the stars, right? The plants. And when Krishna appears, everything else falls into place and becomes conducive, becomes, you know, the devotees are able to practice and do the rituals and the ceremonies and the sacrificial fires, you know, so there's a really interesting thing about how the creation leads us to the greatness and the love of the creator. You know, all these things. Jesus said this thing, if I stop speaking, if they tried to stop me, these stones will rise up to glorify the Lord. Adantarasa Paramanu Chantar, every single, with Krishna is within and between every atom. And every single molecule, what to speak of the planets and you know, all the wonders of the creation are glorifying the Lord at every. How wonderful is Krishna? How wonderful is Krishna? Look at this! Look at this! Look at this! You know, it's so nice. You know, interestingly enough, like Josh is staying at 3rd Street tonight.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, I should have woken him up and dragged him here. I didn't know you were giving class. He would have come. He came in
Josh
really
is
late last
Jason
night.
Prabhu Sensei.
What did another VR say?
I don't know. I have my
Josh
Bhagavatam.
is his sensei. You mentioned
Yeah,
your
yeah,
sensei.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Josh is my sensei.
He's standing up there straight.
Yeah, clockwork jujitsu sensei. Now you gotta mute.
I got to mute this one.
So yeah, I have all these other verses highlighted about. Yeah, like I feel like the things that sometimes we need, it's always about being reminded. Like the things like that when we see tragedies, sometimes it may cause us to question maybe like, what is it like? Why would Krishna let people suffer? You know, like why would he let something like just a madman just open fire on a public train when everyone's just trying to go to work or go to school and just trying to live their lives, even though they're not like devotees, they're like living jivas, living entities, just trying to make sense of this crazy place. And one verse that helps to make sense of that is Bhagavad Gita 14:10, where Krishna writes, "Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy." So there's always that interplay of the modes of like, there are those people trying to be good people, and there are those people that have no idea what a good person is. You have the full spectrum, where it's just like you have decent-hearted people. They may not be devotees, they may not go to church, they may not worship, but they aren't trying to harm others. They aren't trying to do any wrong in this world. And they definitely, no one down here is perfect, but I've met plenty of people that aren't devotees that are like genuinely kind, sincere. You could feel the sincerity when they like wish you well, when they say hi to you. They genuinely care if you're okay. And it's a really harsh place, but you know, like they always say, like the truth hurts. So the truth about the impermanence of this place is we always need to be reminded. Always remember Krishna, because at the end, if you don't remember him, then you get another chance to remember him once again. But the names are so powerful. Like that's like the most important part. Like the names, the other devotees. I see, like I'm here. I see 2 of my godbrothers here, and it's just like, oh, how wonderful is Krishna, right, Prabhu? And it's so true.
Are you doing some book distribution?
I don't know. I have to see. I've been thinking about like I want to like get involved, like be a little bit more proactive, but my schedule's a little weird. And I'm taking Bhakti Shastri on Saturdays, so those are usually the days that I have to like available. So I have to see if I could link up, maybe try to help my godbrother once or twice, try to chase some people down, hold them, put a book in their pocket. So yeah, it's almost 7:45. If anybody has questions, you just unmute yourself, because I'm on my phone and it's hard for me to do any kind of stuff. If you have any corrections, chastisements, please correct me. I need it more than most people. I don't know what I'm doing most of the time.
Okay,
Right, Krishna?
Yeah.
Bhima Prabhu.
Bhima.
Haribo, a very nice class. Is it Jason?
Yes, Prabhu, it's Jason.
Yes, pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to hear from you. That's wonderful. Very genuine, very organic, down to earth. You were preaching the whole time by showing your, especially and how you came and how you instinctively felt the charity and love from the devotees and how you were inspired is very nice. And what I appreciated most is how you recognized how just and leave it to a jujitsu fighter to know his his competitor or his opponent, which is Maya, and to understand just how powerful she is, how slick she is, how mystical she can be, and how that your only protection is the holy names and the association of other devotees. I found that very endearing, how you are instantly became aware of the power of the mind to lead us astray, and what you need to do, probably vis-a-vis. I remember coming into the movement myself and realizing instantly that the four regulative principles were very close to what we followed in fighting. We had principles that we had to follow, and disciplines, and that they instantly transferred that approach over to spiritual life, meaning that you are in a fight, and that you must protect yourselves at all time. You ever remember getting in the ring, and the last thing that the referee says to you before you fight is to protect yourself at all times. That means always be aware that you can be hit, even upon breaking, even after the bell rings, you can get hit, and that you need to keep yourself protected. So this is, when I was listening to you, I was reminded of that, because you were saying just how powerful Maya was, how she can sneak in on us, and how that you have found that how important the holy name is and the association of devotees. So thank you very much for giving class. I'm very honored to make your acquaintance. So Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. And it's very true. Like when I first, I started going to Bhagavatam class at the old kitchen that we had on East 5th Street. And I remember Adi had this like little morning booklet, and I was scanning through one day, and I saw like the four regulative principles, and I was reading them, and it was like, that was like one of the first moments where I was like sun shining through like a cloudy sky. And I was just like, I read no illicit sex. I'm like, you're going to do me that favor? So if I follow this rule, all those problems I had before are going to disappear. Done. No gambling. I was just like, okay. Like, that's like, no intoxication. I was like, oh my God. I was just like, oh, finally it's like, I don't know how my mind is so weird. Like, it's like, you know, something is bad for you, but you do it. But then it's like, when you find a reason to not do it, like, okay, like if I want to hang out with these people, I have to do this. So then it's like, I get to hang out with cool people, and they're going to help me like fix my life. And I'm like, okay, like, where do I sign up? Where can I go? Like, and it's just like, everything makes sense, you know? And then it's like, you associate and you learn about like our four defects. Like, we tend to be illusion. We tend to want to cheat. We want to make mistakes. We have imperfect senses. And it's just like, are you serious? Like, you put like, we all know this inherently through our experiences, but when Prabhupada, when like the acharyas put it into like plain language, it's just like, it's like translating this like these mystic like feeling, like, where it's like, yeah, we do make mistakes. Like, yeah, we tend to be illusioned, because we like, our major illusion is like, we think we're gonna like be here always. We think we're strong enough. Like, oh, I'm so powerful, I can do this. I'm so smart. And it's like, really? Like, anytime my mind tries to convince us how smart we are, I was like, how about, remember those things that we did back then? Like, that was smart too, right? And it's like, no, we're not that smart. You know, like, if anything, we're dumber than we give ourselves credit for. You know, like, at least me. I'm like, no, I need to be around people who are smarter than me. Like, if you walk into a room and you're the smartest person, you might be in the wrong kind of room, or you might be living in you might have the wrong kind of mindset. So, Angelica, you have a question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have more of a comment and appreciation to share. I was so touched about when you were sharing your experience with your Guru Maharaj and your experience of separation, and how when you were interacting with him, essentially your mind was very straight, and you could really remember Krishna in his association. And it's such a beautiful example of the principle that the pure devotee is truly a place of pilgrimage, that they carry Krishna always in their heart, and their mind is always linked with the mind of the Lord, and therefore they themselves become a holy place to associate with and associate in. So that just reminded me that, and I'm still just like so touched by your story and your sincerity and your open heart. And I also deeply appreciated your honesty about how your heart softened with the practice of Krishna consciousness, because this is truly what we are striving to do. And it's a beautiful reminder, because if we are long enough, we can often forget how special devotees are and how special our interactions can be, because they're so based on a level of the heart. So I'm so grateful for this reminder. Thank you so much for stepping forward and giving this class and giving your association to us this morning.
Haribo, thank you, Mataji. Yeah, like devotees, especially like I took birth in this body, and I've been in New York my entire existence in this body. So I'm like through and through New Yorker. Like that's my experience down here is straight New York, Brooklyn, New York. That's where I'm from. That's all the lumps I've taken in this life from there. So I was born into like I can remember being maybe 3 years old and seeing what drugs were, not knowing what they were, but seeing them, seeing like alcohol, seeing these kind of things. So it's like I could think back and like have memories, and it's like almost like I could still feel the darkness that was there. And it's true, like growing up, and then it's like you see these things and it's almost, they become commonplace. But then you come around devotees and you read scripture and you hear and you take shelter of the names and you realize it's sad that that's commonplace. It's sad that people still live that way. There are people that still live in these places that they don't have access to any of this. They don't have access to a devotee. They don't know what a devotee is. They've never heard the name Krishna before. Like they've never heard any of it. And it's like that's why like Lord Chaitanya's mission is so important. That's why it's like our Guru's mission is so important, because it's like there are places in the world that may never in this life, in this birth, hear Krishna. They may never hear the name. They may never see a Bhagavad Gita. They may never, have that experience of seeing just a piece of artwork. And we get to come to temple and it's everywhere. We take association with devotees, and we greet each other, and it's a reminder, like we say his name, and it's like their name responds back. It's like like bhakti is like bhakti creates bhakti, right? Like so it's like you say Hare Krishna and you get a Hare Krishna back. Like, oh, thank you so much. Like yeah, cool. Like it's like a back and forth. It's always a back and forth with Krishna. It's like he reciprocates, right? So it's like we end up reciprocating with each other, because that's our natural position. That's our nature to want to reciprocate, and we get conditioned otherwise down here, because it's like you're nice to someone and then they're mean to you, and after a while it's just like I don't even want to be nice anymore. Everybody else is mean, and all of a sudden everybody wants to be mean. And it's like then we live in a mean world. Then you come around devotees and everybody's nice. And you're like, this place is weird, but no, this is good. This place is this is what normal is. Like you go outside, and it's like sometimes I'll be at Thursday night kirtan, I'll walk straight outside the door, and it's just like it's just like this wave of just, you see people outside like eating meat and drinking liquor, and it's just like, oh yeah, like this is outside. Like there's like you can be like inside and outside. This is inside, this is outside. It's so weird. And I'm just those are the times that I'm like, it's like Bhima said, it's like a fight, but like for me, it's like Adi Prabhu always said, like he said it a few times, he says it often enough, where it's like as soon as you start chanting the names, it's like you're declaring war. Even if you don't want to, even if you're not necessarily looking for that, like you're declaring war on like the illusion. It's just like you're telling Maya, like, I'm done with that. And then like Bhima Prabhu said, she's slick. I like to use the word clever. She's very clever. She knows you, like she knows she knows how she's gotten you before, and she's like, I'm gonna get you again. And you're like, I'm not sure, I hope not, like I like Krishna's strong, you know, I know that's Krishna's like other energy, but like his the one that keeps us like filled with like hope is stronger. And it's like I know you're clever, but I think he's cleverer. You know, you're smart, but he's smarter. You know, so like Krishna. Go ahead, Prabhu. Jamunaja, you want to say something? Go ahead. Don't wait for me.
Oh, this is just a quick comment from a while ago. Thank you for class, Jason. I just wanted to comment that so many times I've seen you so humbly serving in the temple, and you're just such a model devotee. You're this class and the way you serve in the most secret way. People don't know. I mean, I've seen you doing it, but most people don't know. When they show up and they see everything clean, they don't know what you do. And I think that's the best kind of service. It's between you and Krishna, and you're honoring your Gurudev, you're honoring Adi. So beautiful. So I just want to thank you for your service always, because I know.
Thank you. Haribo. Are there any other questions? Because my mind can only work for so long on its own. I need fuel from others.
I have a question, Jason. When you go back outside and you see all these people doing all these things, do you feel like we're better than them and they're so lowly and degraded? Or maybe you feel compassion? And how not to fall into this judgmental mood, thinking that I'm better, I'm saved, and they don't know what they're doing. So what's the genuine feeling that a devotee should have, a healthy devotee should have towards people who aren't actively aspiring for Krishna?
At times, I have found myself feeling, especially more towards the beginning when I first took to Krishna consciousness and started chanting, where my mind would want to convince me, like my false ego is like, oh, these people are like so bad, or like they're so ignorant, or they're so low, you know. And but then Krishna teaches, like he teaches, like he's always teaching. If you're receptive to learning, you're gonna learn some stuff, like not only from inside the books, but from inside yourself, like from inside this body, because he's gonna purify some stuff, and you're gonna feel some stuff, and you might not like exactly what you feel at times. So I feel like anytime I feel like I'm doing really well, like I get these urges and I get these thoughts, and I feel like, oh, I could easily fall back into these patterns, like these old things. So it's like, after a while, I go outside and I'll see people like smoking cigarettes, and I smoked cigarettes for a really long time. And it was only through his mercy and through his grace that I left that a long time ago. But there are people in my life that I love a lot that still smoke cigarettes, and it's, you know, like that material illusion is very powerful. It's very, very powerful. It's very powerful. It comes from him. It has to be powerful, right? Everything comes from Krishna. So it's like I see people drinking, you know, I'm just like, sometimes it's like Adi always says, it's like we have to pray for these people. You have to pray for them. If they insult you, you have to pray for them. Because it's like, we've been on the prasadam lines, and I remember a while back, maybe last summer, we gave a gentleman a plate of food, and he's on the side of the line eating food, and he basically saying like, I'll beat up everybody that is on this line. And I was just like, that's okay, sir, you know, like that's okay. Like in my mind, I'm like, you definitely will not. But like, if you want to believe that, that's okay. Because we can engage in that, because that's like, it's like locking horns in an ignorant way. We cannot do that. It's like we have to be like, if they don't know any better, they're basically like a child spiritually. So it's like, if a baby does something wrong, you're just not gonna take a hammer and just like whack, like hit him. Like, you know, you have to be gentle and say, okay, sir, that's okay. How's the food? Is it okay? And they'll be like, yeah, it's good. You're like, yeah, it's good. And then he could, like, I remember that same guy. He doesn't come anymore, but he came back a few times, and always calm, you know, like all that, like whatever disturbance he was going through, It's just, he felt like, okay, so I wanted to engage in this way and it didn't happen. So I guess they only want to have nice things here. So he was just quiet after a while. And yeah, man, always remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna. Always have to remember him. And if you see me forgetting, remind me. Because
And Angelica went to say.
Angelica, you want to say something else?
Yes, I would like to add to what you just shared, because I see this exemplified by our teachers all the time. And it's this notion that we also have to recognize that the energy we have belongs to Krishna and should be engaged back in his service. And sometimes it is actually a disservice to that energy to like try to preach to someone who is not able to hear us, or try to explain something to someone that is actually going to, make their minds more disturbed than they already are, because they're just not ready to receive this knowledge. And so there are always ways to bring Krishna to them. And you just actually did that. Like you said, you asked them, how was the prasadam? And they said, it's good. They already glorified prasadam, which is bringing them benefit. And yet if you were to do something else, that could actually not be so fitting to the moment. So I've been just meditating on that, and I find it very beautiful how it also takes a lot of attunement to actually ask what is truthfully beneficial and necessary, and what really is our honoring of our energy that we can also protect in this way.
Yes. Yeah, it's very, it's like I've heard it said many times, like bhakti is simple, but it is not easy. It is not easy. And there are times where I have definitely engaged people in, because it's just Krishna, like as many times that we need to be reminded about Krishna, is almost as many times as he has to remind us about our unneeded things that we don't need it to do anymore. And I do it often, not too often, but I'll like serving at the interfaith guest program with Adi Prabhu and Nanda Bihari Prabhu. It's like you deal with people all day long, and it's like sometimes it's like people just don't want to hear it. Like we've had guests where they will try to talk you into this whirlpool of ignorance, and it is so bewildering. And I look at Adi and I'm like, I don't know how you guys have been doing this, because it's like my mind is automatically like, I just want to strangle this person. I like literally like you need to like stop. Like in my mind, like you need to stop, because it's like I'm going through this process that you have no idea about, which is difficult in itself. And then it's just like you're the epitome of everything that I'm trying to leave behind. And you're like, but you want to latch on to that thing that I'm trying to let drift away. And you're bringing it back into me. And I'm just like, no, like one of us has to go. And I can't go right now. Like, yes, Prabhu. There's Anupam Prabhu, my god brother.
We can't hear Anupam.
He's,
Hold on, I got signed out.
oh, he got signed out. He has to log back in. So it's like, yeah, it's like it's a lot of times. You ready?
Yes, ready.
Go.
I was just reading. Disciple Prabhupada says we're asking why stroke when he first was getting started, and he replied that we declared war on Maya. And she's seeing how victorious we were. We have opened some centers in New York City and San Francisco and now Canada. And so that every now and then she'll fight back a little bit, and she'll, so that's how he explained why he was suffering the stroke. But he said he was in Vrindavan at the time. And he's like, yes, I'm just getting my strength back now, but actually I don't want to be here. I'll be joining you again on the battlefield very soon, and we'll continue our war efforts. So I like Prabhupada's mood in that sense.
I respect and admire what a devotee you are. And at my point, I'm seeking initiation. I have not received it yet. I just want to say I'll definitely seek my older God brother.
Dear devotees, thank you so much for listening to my nonsense. Hopefully I provided maybe different perspective. The deities are about to grace us. All glory to Sri Prabhupada, all glory to our illustrious spiritual masters. Thank you so much. Have a good day, great day. Remember Krishna, always.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Always protect yourself, like Bhima Prabhu said, always. And Krishna is real.